I would love to hear some of your memories of what your first digital camera was. Welcome! Thank you so much for joining me on my little photographic adventure, the first one of 2025. I noticed from my modest YouTube stats that most of you are not subscribers to my channel, and so something like about 80%. So if you do get anything at all from my content, please do subscribe, or at the very least give a little thumbs up there, and if there's anything interesting to comment on, please include yourself in the discussions and the feedback in the comments section. Right, what am I doing today? A couple of things. Firstly, I am back out in the New Forest, my local backyard almost, if you like. Now, I have been coming out to the New Forest for more than 30 years, and my intention today is to scout out a new area. So that's the first thing I'm on about today. The second thing, though, is that I have brought with me some early digital photographic technology. 22 years ago, I received as a significant birthday gift a Canon G2, and this is a little small compact bridge camera, and I had delayed getting into digital photography. Before that I had an Olympus 35mm film camera. I delayed getting into digital because the megapixel count was just awful. It was sort of 1 to 2 megapixels. But this camera, ooh, this one, 4 megapixels, yes. So I'm going to be trying it out, and I'm going to be comparing it. It's a totally ridiculous and unrealistic comparison with the Nikon Z7 Mark II, which is a 45 megapixel camera. I'm interested in doing this, one, to see just how far digital technology has come in 22 years. The other thing is that at the time that I got it, I was completely new, of course, to digital photography, and so I really hadn't even appreciated the difference between shooting JPEG and RAW at that point in time. And I've had another 20-something years experience of photography since then, particularly digital photography. And so I'm going to be shooting with it in RAW today for the first time since I owned it, and I'm going to be really interested to see just how much I can get out of this tiny little compact camera and how that compares with my enormous beast of a Nikon Z7 Mark II.
Through times long march, I have flown in all your sufferings and life's blind rod. I have remained. I am beside you. I am in you. I am for you. I am the water of life.
Well, we have plenty of harsh light today. Very high contrast, clear blue skies. The sun's pretty well up because it's about 10:30 in the morning. So these are absolutely not the conditions I would usually look to shoot the woodland in. So I'm rather liking this view. It's beautifully backlit here. We've got sunlight streaming straight down this ride here, and I've positioned myself so that I'm in the shade of this tree trunk. It's reasonably substantial, and it's making this sort of archway. Well, around the tree, around the rim of the tree, you can see the sun catching the rim of it, where you've got mosses and things growing on it. It's so bright, and the shadows are so deep that looking at my histogram, when I clear the right hand side of it, the shadows are definitely clipped, and so I'm definitely going to have to bracket this one. So I shall set up a bit of exposure bracketing, set our focus point there, touch autofocus, and I'm on a 60th of a second, and 2-second timer, release, and there we have our 3 images. And now I'm going to set up exactly the same shot with my G2, my Canon G2. That's going to be fun. Well, I thought I'd just give you something of a view of this tiny little compact camera. So this is the Canon G2 4 megapixel. It's not the sure shot, it's the PowerShot. There you go, look. And I do have like a little tube that can fit onto the front here, where I can fit a polarizer, but I'm probably not going to get around to that today. I have brought it with me, but I'm probably not going to get around to that. I had to slightly recompose this shot because of course the sun is moving through the sky. Now I think I have something like about, I don't know, 500 or something focus points on my Nikon. On here I have 3. And so if I press the set button here, 3 squares come up and I can choose, there's no touch screen of course, I can choose which of these is my focus point. That's it basically. And so that's really quite limiting, because the point I wanted to focus on was actually, for this shot, was the tree itself. And I can't do that directly in this composition, which means focus and recompose. And that's difficult if you're trying to bracket shots, of course. But I have made an attempt at that. Hopefully I am shooting in RAW mode. I suppose I could go into the very basic menu system that it has here and just double check that. Oh no, here we go, it's gone back to JPEG. Right, okay, I'm going to do these all again. And right, so now I am in RAW mode. Probably not an awful lot of point reviewing these pictures on the back of the camera, but other than to show you that it has indeed been varying the exposure. And we shall have a look at that lot. We have a nice little view of this little brook running through the forest, and so I think I'm going to have a little go at this one. I like the way that this tree in the foreground on the left is arching over, reaching over this little stream, sort of brook, and it's an opportunity for me to try out the polarizer on my old Canon PowerShot, sure shot, what's it called? It's the Canon PowerShot G2. I wish I had a memory, that would be great, wouldn't it? There is another tree on the right hand side of the brook, which also kind of goes over the stream, and I quite like that. So I'm going to try and see what I can do to capture a little of that. Yeah, the thing that has struck me the most is the usability of the Nikon now. The ability to just touch anywhere on the screen pretty much to say that is precisely where I want to focus. Knowing also reliably whether or not you've got your exposure right, so things like having the histogram. So for this shot, for example, viewing on the histogram here, I can tell very precisely whether or not I'm clipping my shadows or blowing out the highlights, and so the information that is immediately to hand to very easily and very, very quickly, instant, is amazing. The clarity of the screen, so I can see exactly what it is that I'm photographing, is so different. It is a very, very different experience to what it was 20-something years ago. The proof of the pudding is very much going to be in the eating. I've taken several similar images. They're not cropped exactly the same. We've got a different ratio. We've got a 4:3 screen ratio on the old Canon, which is different to the Nikon. Yeah, so it is all going to look a little bit different. Okay, I think that's about it for this particular location. I'm going to carry on with my walk. I'm enjoying this little exploration and finding some new spots in the New Forest, and I quite like this one. I think this could be a really nice, this could be quite a nice autumn scene actually. Now this is a nice little scene here. I do rather like the way this this floodwater stream, it's not really a permanent stream I don't think, is surrounding this tree, this dead tree, and so I think this is a really nice, going to be a nice wide angle shot. I'm going to get the camera up quite high looking down so I don't get too much of the sky in, and I'm going to bracket it, and I think this has got some merit. I like this. This is interesting. The lighting conditions today are really pretty harsh, and so I've decided to use a facility of the camera that I almost never do. In fact, most of the time I just completely forget about it. And because we've got this really beautiful blue sky with some cloud detail in it, and I'm just ending up bracketing everything at the moment, and to be honest that's a bit of a pain. It just occurred to me, you know, I've paid huge amounts of money for a camera that will deal with that, and so I have turned on in the menu system the active D-lighting, and I've put that onto very high, and the outcome of that is a shot that, instead of looking like this on the screen, looks like, if I can find it, right, so it looks like this on the screen. And so compared to my setup of, well, it probably doesn't look very different to you, but if I play back, so this is the active D-lighting shot, and then this is the set of bracketed shots, and I've got to say that I think it's done a pretty decent job there. And if I look at the histogram on it, it's kept it well within range there, I would say. Well, I've got to say, I really enjoyed exploring this new part of the forest, and it's nice to find somewhere new. I have a feeling that this part of the forest is going to be brilliant in fungi season. I've seen so much fallen wood, hardwood particularly, beech and oak, although mostly beech. And so that's a great sign for next autumn. This will definitely be a place to revisit. So I have probably droned on far too long today. I think I probably ought to bring this particular episode to a close with some final thoughts, particularly about how things have changed over 20 or so years. I think one thing I've come to realise is how much I have taken for granted the capabilities of a modern camera. When the G2 came out, it was a reasonably expensive camera at the time, and I wouldn't say that it was cutting edge. This was not a flagship camera at the time. It'd probably have been things like the Nikon D1 around, I suspect, and the Nikon D100, and those would have had much better capabilities than my little Canon bridge camera. But nevertheless, just to compare it in terms of its usability, the quality of the images and so on, it's just been really quite fascinating. And I tell you what, I've got a whole new appreciation for my amazing Nikon gear and just how easy it has become to use in comparison, particularly in terms of being able to use it in really what are quite challenging lighting conditions. So there you go. I hope that might have been of some interest to some of you. I'll do a little slideshow, I suspect, at the end of any shots that I think have got particular merit from today. But it hasn't been so much about the shooting today. It's been about, exploring this change of technology and exploring a new part of the forest as well. So I hope perhaps you'll join me next time for another shoot, when I hope that I will soon be able to get out under the stars again. I haven't been able to do that for quite some time. So thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next time. And don't forget, like, subscribe and all those juicy YouTube things. Congratulations if you've made it to the end of this video. And thank you. Just one final thought before I disappear. Back in the van here. I would love to hear some of your memories of what your first digital camera was, and how you got hold of it, and how do you think what you're shooting with now compares to the first camera, or at least the first digital camera that you had, or if you like, with the film camera that you used to shoot with. Would love to hear your stories in the comments. Cheers.
Without me, all is thirst. Through time's long march, I float in all your sufferings, and life's blind wrath I have remained.